Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at the KZN Trial Paper 2 2025, and we're focusing on question 7, which pertains to trigonometry, and that is a 2D and 3D problem section. So let's look at the question at hand. It says in the diagram, CD is a vertical pillar. So there's our vertical pillar, CD. A, B, and C are points in the same horizontal plane. A, B, and C sitting on the ground. That is your horizontal plane. It tells us that AD and BD are straight cables. AD and BD are straight cables. It gives us the length of CD, which is 15, and BD, which is 20, and angle ADC, which we can see here is 28 degrees, and angle ADB, we can see is 52 degrees. So the question is to find or calculate the length of AB. So for me to go find AB, I need to see in the triangle called ABD, I only have a side of 20 and I have an angle of 52. I do have a common side AD, and my first aim would be to find AD in the smaller triangle. So I'm going to highlight triangle ACD in red, and we're going to try and find AD. Now we have two options. We can use the sine rule, or we can use SOHCAHTOA. So I'm going to start off this question by looking at the red triangle and saying, right, what do I have? So looking at my diagram, I want to find AD. So I do have the angle opposite AD, which is 90. Now it's also a right angle triangle, so I can use my sine, cos, and tan. So if we use 28 as our reference angle, so we know that AD is your hypotenuse, as it's opposite the right angle called C. And the side that is given is CD, which is your adjacent side in comparison to angle D. So I can use a ratio called cos. And I could start off by saying cos 28 is equal to, remember cos is x over r, or adjacent over hypotenuse, and my adjacent side here is 15 over my hypotenuse, which is AD. And then we can cross multiply that, which will give me AD cos 28 is equal to 15 times 1 is 15, and thereby we will get AD dividing both sides by cos 28 is 15 over cos 28. And if you find 15 over cos 28, that will actually give me, using your calculator, will give me AD to be 16.99 meters. So that's one way to work it out. I'm going to show you another way, and this time we're going to use the sine rule. So looking at the triangle, we have 28 degrees, 90, and some angles of a triangle give you 180. So we're going to take 90 minus 28, which will give us 62 degrees. Okay, so using my sine rule, we can say AD over sine 90 is actually equal to, and we got 15, and the angle opposite 15 is 62. So that'll give us 15 over sine 62. Now we know sine 90 is 1, so AD over 1, which is AD, is equal to 15 over sine 62. And you can type that on your calculator. You'll get AD is equal to, once again, 16.99 meters. So there's your two ways to find AD. Okay, I'm just going to erase that. So now we're going to move our attention to the next triangle. And that is the green triangle. Now remember, from the previous question, we're going to put the information in. We found out that that was 16.99. Now the question is to find AB. So if we want to find AB, we have a given side, we have an included angle, and we have a side called 20. And when you have a case of side angle side which is given, we will use the cosine rule. So the cosine rule would be telling us that AB squared is the square of the other two sides. So we're going to take 16.99 squared plus 20 squared minus 2, 16.99 times 20 times cos, and the angle in between there is 52. And that'll give us AB squared. We can type that on a calculator. And if you type that on a calculator, you're going to get 270.256. We don't want to round off as yet. And then we're going to find the square root of 270.256. And finding the square root of that, that will give me 16.44 meters. And there we have it. AB is 16.44 meters. Thank you.